This is why me I say now, how to get out of this. The start is the black man and the black woman first have to come together because we have to start by building family structure. No revolution now going to take place the proper way without certain people by our side. We need them by our
True.
side. So we
True.
have to start establish the family structure, and then
Family.
once you start establish that in your home, and next man they do it over there, so we can start build a community. And it might start with a handful of people, but then you don't establish something because there's a structure with our women right beside of us.
Yes.
We can't we need them by our side, no one foot. So guess what, no, to start by certain things, if for example you the work and your woman the work and you decide say guess what, we have to jump off of the program right now. So make we start do this, make we start one fish farm, one whatever farm or whatever business. Guess what? You being the man because you're more active with your hands. It's easier for your woman living in the system while you the physically do things in the business. So she don't know say yo watch out. You have to go and cover certain things because the business have to do a time period before you reach what you call it break even. That's
True.
why you call
True.
it. You're right. Because if you fi stay in the work and she if you go, she now go can physically manage certain things where would have needed.
True.
You understand?
Exactly.
So we have to come to that, and it's the same thing with dealing with family. For example, you might have your purpose. The woman might have a certain career where she like do that the career, the nursing or whatever job or whatever she want to do. You don't have to
Yes.
come to an agreement for no. So guess what? When it's time to start with family, you have to don't take 5 years off to deal with the child because you want when your wife have a youth for you want she did the nurture the child. No, after 30 days they go back to work. That's a
True. True.
madness.
True.
One whole
True.
5 years, finish the lactation process, everything,
True.
the basic things, the party training, you have to make that agreement with the woman. We can't have our women, they have babies, and then as after 30 days, 60 days, are back to work. Then
Back to
now you
work.
find out, say your baby, they call the maid, what you call, a maid babysitter. Your baby, they call the
Mama.
babysitter mommy. No, 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 me not believe in them things. Me believe say a man fi afford giving wife a nurse and a maid. Me believe in that. Woman them fi
True.
have maids. You understand?
True.
That is why the extended family was there. The grandmother, the sisters, the neighborhood. That's all. I mean, when I was born, it wasn't any hospital. It was people around me in my community that was there to take care of my mother. They wash for my mother, cook for my mother, and clean for her. She was living like a princess. You see, I hear a lot of women speaking about sisterhood, and I'm not seeing them practicing it. I
No,
mean, your
no.
friend gets pregnant and you keep the baby shower, but after the baby shower, you done with her after you take picture for put on social media.
It's true.
Yeah, remember, the woman shouldn't even be in cold water after giving birth. She was supposed to be not even do heavy lifting. Worse if it's a C-section. You see, childbirth has become dangerous for women now, especially that women have been forced to take the lead in some cases and come into the corporate world. The corporate world wasn't even built for women. We have to be making adjustment. The HR is for women because the corporate world never really meant to facilitate women. Certain jobs was never meant to facilitate women. If you look at jobs like the security work, the job that require time off, it wasn't meant to facilitate women. But the trick was to tell women that hey, you don't need a family. You need this to be on equal footing with men when women don't have to be on equal footing with men because naturally men will provide for you, even strangers. The issue is that they have corrupted the women, separated them from the men. The men have lost purpose. They have no leadership skills. They've lost their masculinity and testosterone. The average men that is right now, them not no sense.
True,
So
man.
my time I wonder how woman lie down with the average man right now. I mean, the greatest thing you can do as a woman, now let nothing fool you. The greatest thing you can do as a woman is to give birth. To create life is only other person who does that is God.
Yeah.
And yet you're doing it for men who don't appreciate it. And as
Gotcha.
a man, the greatest thing you can do is to get a woman further your lineage. Yet still when the woman breed a run, gone, say I know for your pitney, or you know what I mean.
Hallelujah.
So
Wow.
you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, definitely,
So
definitely.
the women society has identified that what is the strength and the backbone of society. It is not man. A kingdom, the kingdom is the woman, the man is the king. But if you can put the kingdom in disarray, what would the king lead? If the king has no subjects, the king has no purpose.
All right.
Right now, you see walking around is a lot of men without a focus, without goal, without a kingdom to rule over. The first kingdom you rule over is a home.
Me glad you touched that like turtles. Empress, would you like to come up? Shalom, Empress, welcome. Would you like to come up? Me like where you touch a while ago. Me do a video the other day where me talk about woman's intuition. And me show them say what society call hypergamy is their intuition, because when a woman does seek for a man, she don't look for the best genetics. That's the first intuition of a woman, to look for the genetics. And as I mentioned about the kingdom, right? Where me I say, when you have a kingdom, you provide for everybody inside of your kingdom. If a dog in the goat, everything in there, you meet your servants, everybody inside is provided for. So the woman wouldn't have to worry once she's inside of the perimeters of the kingdom. And then you provide, you protect the kingdom, and she, the queen, protect the king. The queen protect the king, and the king protect the kingdom, and that's the dynamics of the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So just give me a second. Let me the brother come off. Let me just tend to some comments. Hold on there. The person said, like her to say, Empress Melanin, not for me. Then again, I'll let you in to track your device, leave a digital print. Me
Long
feel
time
like
conversation.
by our CIA, you know, our FBI.
But
Empress
I
say,
would say further to what you're saying though about the you know what, let me preface this by saying, before this I never thought I would ever see the day that I will utter these words, but equality between men and women is an illusion. And I had to grow outside of my ego to come to that acknowledgement. And the thing about it is, women are always demanded to be seen as equals when we really are not. And it does not mean that that's a bad thing. It just means that our role is totally different. And we don't understand how important our role is, because we don't understand submission. Submission does not mean subservient, right?
really, Empress?
Submission does not mean subservient.
No.
Submission does not mean that you are less than this individual. You have to be in a position of power to be able to hold up a man of power. You understand me? So now we have this situation where women are competing with men, and we are competing with other women as well, in order to maintain this illusion that have been fed to us. And so that is why you have this situation where a woman will boast about what she has acquired in life and tell you that she don't need you, right? When really and truly she does. Like, we can't do it without, like, right now, I don't know. We are outside of ourselves if our men are not in a position that they are being the men that they ought to be.
Um,
Empress, thank you so much for sharing that. That is awesome. And I mean, at the end of the day, if we can understand and agree that we are not here to compete, but to complete, then it makes the mission a lot much better. Thanks for sharing that thought.
yeah, but you see the thing now, it go back, it's always gonna go back to language. Because she mentioned about equal, right? The thing is, men and women are equal, but not in the context of how this society teaches us about equal, because equal would have to be the polar opposite. If to have a pair of shoe, you have to have a left and a right. You cannot have two right foot of shoe and say you have a pair. It has to be the polar opposite. So the day and the night are equal, but it means that the day and the night are the same thing. It means that it's the polar opposite. That is what equality is. So when our women understand that they are our equal in the context of the polar opposite, not equal as in the same.
Yeah, man. Well
Once we
articulated.
Right, so this is why we are trying to teach them not just a language, but we are trying to teach them a culture,
Yeah.
a way of life, a reality. Hard.
Yes. Yes.
Because then trick we with words. So when women fight
Yes.
for equality, them now fight to be the polar opposite to us.
Yes, my brother.
Language,
Well,
man, language.
Here
well
is a
put.
thing that I always said to the other panelists that I used to have. You're going to start to hear this a lot, but know it originated from the turtles here. You see, feminism is capitalism in a skirt. I want to repeat that. Feminism is capitalism in
Yeah,
a
man, say
skirt.
that again, go back, rewind, and say that again.
Yeah, so what I was saying, my philosophy is this, and my take is feminism is capitalism in a skirt. And what I mean by this, they are still manipulating women, abusing women, but now they're able to tell women that it is okay No woman wants to work as hard as a man because their body wasn't built for it. A woman can handle pain, a man cannot. A man can handle stress, a woman cannot. And the polar opposites as the host was saying is what makes us work so well together. You understand? The man lives off his strength and his will. The woman lives off her intuition and her ability to manipulate. Manipulation isn't a bad
Yes.
thing. Manipulation means you're able to change things.
Yes.
Now, they took the power from the women. They say, oh, they took power from man was taking the women's respect for the man away and telling the woman, but you can do what he does. So now you're finding men now
Wow.
saying, well, if a woman can do what I do, where do I stand? There's no need for me. So this is why you find that even lesbianism right now, it is not something that many women
Careful of the
want to go
words.
into.
You know, and then kick me out. Careful of the words. Remember, me the pan ban
Yeah,
already.
but the scissors thing we see a lot of women doing, they don't fully enjoy it. They're not being fulfilled. They might be getting pleasure, but they're not getting fulfillment because they love the feeling of a dominant man. They love to feel muscles, power, authority. They love to look up and feel as if they have been conquered. Just like us as men, we love to feel as if we are being powerful. We're exerting our power. So it is what made the dance so beautiful.
Right, right.
Only
Hold
victim
on.
is in feminism because when they took the woman out of the house, it wasn't a case where a woman used to lock up in her house 24/7. No, she had her own thing going. She had her tailoring shop, she had her business, she did hairdressing, she was a nurse to the community. But what she created was she was the backbone of the community that kept it together. Remember, when grandma dies, and that is when the family truly breaks apart. When grandma is there, everybody goes to grandma and grandpa's house. But the moment grandma passes off, the family scatters. So if you are able to take the woman, the creator of the family, you give the leader of the family no purpose. Now the leader of the family has no purpose. It easy to manipulate both of them. The children come up without proper guidance and they have no structure or backbone. So it's like a military without a captain, a military without a leader. They don't have any strategy. So this is why you find out that the society has been attacking women now more than men. And women don't see the attack, you see? They have psychologically analyzed women and realized a lot of women likes to hear nice things.
Ego.
Ego. So like what a man don't feel like say him are the boss, women like to feel like say she are the best. So they feed into women's ego and tell women, hey, do this, be like this. No man can tell her what to this and that, and she run with it. Because what we learn, manipulators learn one thing. The lie is sweeter than the truth. And if you love a woman, you tell her the truth. If you're just using her, you tell her what she wants to hear. And a lot of women simply cannot grasp this concept that this is why you continuously choosing the wrong men to procreate with or to live with. You have to choose men who tell you things that it hurts, but it makes you a better person. That is the first foundation of killing the feminist movement. Now, for the
Right.
men, not because you were given divine authority means you were to abuse the women. Your natural role is to protect and preserve the women. This is why you send the children first and the women first, because even though you as the man will be the sacrifice, the nation lives on through the children and the women. So your role isn't to say you are better than women or over women. Your role is to be in position to protect them, guide them, teach them, and lead them. But
Def-
the average man cannot do this. They can't look on some of them youth and say lead one family. How? Remember, before you could take a woman's hand in marriage, you had to engage the family to prove that you were man enough.
Be glad
Yo,
you
Mr.
touched
Man.
that.
You get what I'm saying?
Be glad you
So,
touched that. Big one.
but many of us, we skill, we know if a tricky daughter, but we don't know if a tricky father. So this is where you find out women saying they are choosing their husbands as being a downfall. This is why you had a dowry where the man, I know, sell the father, sell you, or the family sell you. The family vetted the man you were being married to. Boy, punch him ugly, but him have a farm and some cow, you not go hungry, and the pick them not go hungry. But punch no one, punch one big dick Johnson down the road with cute and all. So women go after their lust, and their lust lead them to destruction. Men go after their lust, which is woman's flesh, and it leads us to destruction. So we are no longer able to properly vet what we want. Man want the sexy girl down the road, you know, want the one way we help him cook and clean. But he might buy lashes and them things. Them have to buy ear extension for 50 grand a week time.
Yeah, then strip
So,
us for the purpose, and that is the
so then
dismantling of the
strip
family. But
purpose.
hold on, let me just tend to some comments, and because you guys have some things to answer. So Empress Rising says balance. I guess this was when we were talking about polarity. The average baby mother in Jamaica didn't go through it properly. I don't remember that. Empress Rising say yes. Facts Turtles. Gary said Facts Turtles. Miss Shy. Empress is shy to come up. Saul said it's discernment cause you can have intuition and lack discernment to comprehend what your intuition is picking up on, which is true. You need both, you understand? So that's a good point that you mentioned there. Blessing said women have more responsibility. I guess this is talking about the family structure. And yes, in general, women have a lot more things to consider, especially if you already have a child. You have a lot more things to consider before you just go into another relationship. So yes, addiction says agreed. Empress says I love that. Not here to compete, but to complete. That I think she's echoing what Gary said. Saul said correct. Yes, they perform different functions. That's it. So I think that was back to the polarity. Once we start to understand polarity, I think we will be more functional. Empress Rising says, how do you break this curse? So like Turtles and Jobless, this is a question. How do you break this curse? And she says, that's what it feels like, confusion when talking to women and men. Empress Rising, self-work. Yes, some people looking, it's so deep but so simple. So true. But the questions are, the two questions, how do you break this curse between the man and the woman? I guess that's what she's referring to. And the confusion between men and women. I think for me, is a language barrier dealing with reality, because we speak a language that opposes reality. Like Empress was talking about equality. Equality is real, but the concept or the perception of equality that we have in mind is about a battle between the man and the woman, not the electric and the magnetic field coming together as one, but a war. So how do you guys answer this question? How do we break this curse between this man? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, there's a saying that those who are privy to privilege doesn't understand that equality feels like oppression when presented with equality. Women are privileged in society over men, but they haven't been seeing this. Meaning, what do you mean by a woman is privileged? If me and Ross end up in a fight, me and Cosmic Royal end up in a fight, people see we and say, yeah man, two man a fight, them video, them laugh and make fun. If me lose, them laugh after me. But me and a woman end up in a fight, the first person who's going to be the villain is Turtles. Oh, you figure put your hand on a woman. All when they watch me get beaten and one top me fling at me wrong. You see, this is where I say you have domestic abuse and domestic violence. Domestic violence is when the man is getting abused and there's equal footing between man and the woman. The domestic abuse comes in when the man wins the fight. That's all, you know. So domestic violence, you know, the man lose, still domestic violence. The man and the woman equal in the fight, still domestic violence. But once the man lick a woman and people find out a domestic abuse, the man end up in a prison and the woman end up with the house. Now, these are privileges that women have that women are slowly losing, because they're saying, if men were to treat you really equally like how we treat men, we wouldn't handle you so gently, we wouldn't protect you, and we wouldn't preserve you. Now, women, so where are these protector men in society? Let it be known. I am a man and I don't want to fight a man. Because it's not easy to fight a man. It usually ends in death or serious injury. Now, I see women walking up in some of the most dangerous men's face and pointing up, pushing off them face, and man still not do them nothing. That is a privilege I have there. Because you are seen as gentle, you are seen as more soft, men are careful around you. There's a trend on TikTok now, women find out how strong men can be. Why am I saying this? A lot of men reserve their energy around you to protect you from themselves. Men protect women from other men. Men protect women from dangerous women. Because as the same, you have male predators, you have female predators. The more dangerous thing about the female predator is that they don't get catched or they aren't held accountable. How can we fix all of this? First and foremost, the family structure has to be fixed. We have to grow boys to remember that girls are like flowers again. You have to protect her. You have to treat her gently. You have to correct her when she's not doing her best, but not abuse her. You don't see her as an object, you see her as a person. You understand? Women, only thing you have to do is just show men that you are worth being treated like a flowers. Now, if me look on Facebook and TikTok, me see all your skin out and every man can pull you whenever I want. There's nothing valuable there. You're common. So why me have to be Prince Charming? Why me have to bring flowers to get the same thing where you get to Johnson down the road for free? So you have to preserve yourself. They call it liberation, ladies, but they have stripped your values away. Now you see women on TikTok, Facebook, everywhere naked. Social media, women are crying out for attention because they're competing with other women to get noticed. And the one who is the more naked and outburst and have the most exposure is the one that seems to be the most loved when she is not.
Illusions.
She easy to get, but she not easy to love. You are easy to love, but you're harder to get. But once you've been got, you're easier to keep because to a man, respect means more than anything. When me I walk with my woman, the less man we can say I have been there before makes her more valuable to me. I am willing now to put my life on the line. Worse if me know say she give me 2 youth for protect her. You can't lick my woman and me not thumping on your face. But me know say I just one little thing when me pick up down the road and me get a one bus off and thing on your backside. I say, "Chow, life." And go about my business. And it's not because you have to exchange. Women do not feel like you have to exchange sexual favors to garner protection and respect, I'm saying that men should naturally respect and protect women. But it's up to you to keep up that status quo. You understand? It is up to you to say, hey, men, since we used to go to wars and die, yes, but we know we do it for women that we know that once we die, these women are worth dying for. If you tell me say you're equal to me I go see you as another man. Me no love man. Me respect other men, but me no love them like how me love women. And me can go out there go protect man. Me can teach man how to protect themselves. This is why you find that now men used to be chivalrous. You get up off the bus and say, me sit down right here so me good, me stand up. But it's up to you as a woman if you want to be equal and strong. You get up and say, boy, the man like a work he might come from and he look tired. Sir, can hold a seat, Do that to a man one day and saw the man look by him. Probably stare like myself. What wrong with that? So, the woman is different. Just
Very
do it
true.
one day, ladies. I tell you, you can run social experiments, You go up on the bus. Just, even if you drive a car and you're up on the bus and you sit down and see a man with a bag of tool.
Yeah, me
A
try
bag
me
of
try
tool
that
coming.
for real. Yeah, it's true. They are surprised, and it make me sad because me say it's like they're not used to getting this kind of treatment. So when somebody does it, it's like, oh, what are your intentions? What is your agenda? You know? Yeah,
Let me
it's
ask
true.
you
And on to your point, you teach people how to treat you in the boundaries that you set and maintain. So how you carry yourself as a woman is important. How if somebody can just come and see and just rub you down cause you come on like that, then they're not gonna respect you.
Let me just say something. Anybody in the comments have anything to say towards what Light Turtle just explained regarding Empress's question? How do we break the curse? And Jablis, I'm gonna let you go ahead and say your piece on the same question. If you have anything different you'd like to add to the question, how do we break the curse? Are
The
you
only way to break, yeah, man. Yeah, man, in my way of looking at things, the only way to break the curse is to come into understand yourself, Because you can't fix nothing if you don't understand the cause of it, you know? So there's a principle to the thing. So when you come to the grip of yourself now, then you go understand how the cosmic work. And when you get that, then that's it.
yeah,
Yeah, because anytime you violate that, there's a penalty. So that's why we always pay the penalty.
Yeah. We have too much people believe that they can live outside the cosmic laws and don't face certain consequences, you know? Like one of the things we see right now, when you see a woman post about adultery on TikTok, every woman in the comment section is there to empower her. But as soon as a man unalive that woman, is the same people, but they're not gonna say stop that. Why they have to empower it then? If somebody is just posting, just leave it. You don't have to empower the wrong thing, because when the punishment comes, guess what? You're gonna say the man didn't have to do that, but you're not saying that the cosmic laws are gonna. Huh?
Cosmic.
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
remember in a school when you do an exam, and when you feel like you fail the exam, you go out the door and you hold on your head. And you say, Bomba, 40 out of 100 me get. Then you hear somebody else come out and say, me fail it with hard, you kind of feel better. Then another one come out and say, you whole class fail. Yes, oh, thank God, I know me alone. It starts from this. So
Man, bring back memory.
misery loves company.
Come.
So, you see, no, listen now, Cosmic. As a youth, if you're out there in Jamaica right now, as a little young man, just left school, and you say you go look at a little supermarket worker, you want to pay for go to college, and you're not ready to get no youth yet, so you're not breed nobody daughter, and you try focus, and you go to church on Sunday, you are seen as a fool in society. Misery loves company, so they must say you're jobless, man, youth. What kind of big pants that you wear, dog? You know, not take any pants, man, youth, and bun weed, or you know, drink rum. Nah, man, jobless. Yeah, miss out, man. You're all this. See, I spliff here. So the female version of this now is to promote promiscuity. They see a look a young lady who say, no, I don't want to run around with 10 Tom, Dick, and Harry. I just want to keep my legs closed, focus on my life. I'm not ready to have any kids yet. I want to build a career so my parents can be proud of me. Then I can marry. Hey, girl, you idiot, I give you a bun. You're a fool. May I tell you, if I'm me just taking money. So the hurt persons love to spread their hurt. Failure loves to find failure in others. So this is why you find, say, if them fail, them friend you up and friend you down for fail too. Sometimes, you see, if too much people like you, too much people support you, you do something wrong.
Yeah, definitely. We can add a scripture to what you just said, my boss.
Yeah, my boss.
Genesis 2:23. This is after Adam and Eve. They say, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. You see that word, that term, they were not ashamed, is the same thing that Joseph. So, for example, imagine a woman out there in her long skirt and her head wrap, right? When she go around for her friends with dress up in her pants and these impy skimpy thing like we talk about them woman on Facebook, right? She have to be powerful and conscious in herself and not be ashamed. Or is the same if she come and they talk to them and they say, yo, we are going tonight, you know. And she said, me have to ask my husband and me have to talk to my husband. I say, girl, you really talk to your husband? You see that ashamed? You see that ashamed? If you're ashamed of your culture, man, just like if you have natural hair, and guess what? Every other woman having them false hair, if you go around them, if you're not conscious in yourself, you're gonna feel ashamed. You see, this is a scripture, yeah? We have to see the realities of it.
Yeah, man.
You understand? And if you, like me always say, okay, for me, you know, you see, we would normally have dinner at a certain time, right? So if you know, say you and your wife have by 7 o'clock, you don't have dinner. Anyway, the outer road with the boys, them or whatever, you have to know, say, watch the time. So you say, watch at 6:30, and now, gentlemen, I will catch up with you.
Yeah, girl clone you.
Right. Girl clone. Right, yeah, girl clone. But the reality is, you're no husband. Your priorities change. So you know, say 7 o'clock, you're going to have dinner with your wife. No care what you're out there to do during the day. Play football, drink, or hang out with your friends, fishing. When it's time for dinner, you present yourself at the table. So you and your wife can have a functional thing. They call you granny if you're dressed in a certain way. That if they wear a long skirt. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But you see, you go back to what you're saying, that the scripture still govern the life where we live today. You have to be conscious. It goes back to what you said. You have to be conscious of yourself, of who you are, not as a personality, but as the being. And that's where it starts from. Let me tell you something. As you mentioned about dealing with the curse. Listen, a lot of people are traumatized and they don't even know that they are traumatized. That's how normal it is. And let me tell you something. We have to educate these people that love will expose them. It's not to, it's going to trigger them. What I'm saying is, it's going to show you the things that you're hiding behind. You ever take an insecure woman and love her yet? You ever been in a relationship with an insecure woman or vice versa? Me I tell you, Virgin, that are from experience. And this is why I say to most people is that when you're with an insecure person, even if you help that person through the insecurity, it's best the relationship ends. You know why? Because all of the judgment with them form in their mind during the relationship, even if the person is healed, they cannot purge the judgments.
Cha, real talk you make, brother.
Understand? So when we talk about relationship now, we have to start building relationships and grace. You know, say, watch her, the woman in our single mother state or whatever state in her, you know, she don't do whole for things out there. And you as the man in a pure dark state when you know wake up to the truth of yourself, you do a lot of things. So guess what? We are gonna build a relationship on grace. Meaning say, me I go pardon all of the life we live between age 20 and 29, I'm gonna pardon it. And the life when me live in my time of darkness, you are going to pardon it. So now that we come together, we have to know, say, it done with. Me can't do that again when we used to do, and you cannot do it, you understand? So, facts cosmic real women are insecure. Not just women, but most women are, because they really don't know how insecure they are. The only time they're gonna know is when they meet a man who has himself together. Because here's the thing. How you hide trauma and how you hide problem is when a woman has, say for example, insecure, when a woman is insecure or whatever the mental state might be, she is going to take a man that is in a worse mental state than her. So this is why they like abusive men or alcoholics or people who, man, like what I say, workless man then. Because when they take on to them now, by them complain every time about him drinking or him abuse, guess what? She don't have to tend to set the fact that, dude, you don't have it together. You hide behind your fears, you hide behind your insecurities, you're addicted to pain. So we have to understand the psychology of this thing. You know, say, watch her. Me willing to love you through all of this, as long as you know go against me non-negotiables. Commit adultery, disrespect my parents a certain way. You know you're non-negotiable and you're not acceptable in a relationship and things where once you set those priorities straight, we have to know, say, yo, I saw you don't go. And that's how we move forward, because me not go judge you, me not go condemn you for what you do before you meet me. But you see, from me, so me I go hold you to the standard here. So if you can agree to my terms and agreement, which me I go agree to yours. So guess what? The dating table should be not ask me what type of wine me like, what type of movies me like, and all of this bullshit. The dating table should be about we are going to negotiate our terms of agreement. So when me come and me bring forth my terms, what is not acceptable to me, what is my non-negotiable, and what things I can tolerate, and for how long you're gonna come with your proposal, and then we're gonna look at them and see the similarities. And once we can agree to all of these terms and whatever, or if we have more similarities than differences, we know we can pursue each other. You see what I'm saying? So that's the only way. If the relationships are not built on grace, it's not going to work. So she have to understand, say, the love where you don't show her, you don't expose the truth of her, but it's not you condemning her. And you have to know, say, as the man, whatever thing you hide, fear love to you don't expose that part of you, but it's for you to become aware of it. You understand? So we were created for intimacy. So as I mentioned earlier about the feminism thing, how it destroyed women, this is why most women in their latter days, they are lonely and dissatisfied. They will have a big bank account, a big house, a big car, but they are very lonely. They have 3, 4, 5 toys. They have every current sites bookmarked, and self-indulgence in pleasures, self-pleasure and things like that. They're very lonely. They cannot create a functional relationship, because what psychologists don't tell these women, a lot of women say, if men can do it, we can do it too. The psychologists don't tell them about oxytocin. These are different oils, spirits, or what they call it, whatever they call it, that is produced when you take a certain behavior. This is
the Kundalini energy, the study of the way or the fluids transfer and transport up from the base of the spine to the crown of the spine, from the lower vertebrae, the upper vertebrae, to the climbing of the serpent, or you call it Christ consciousness. For men, when we abstain from sex for long, it awakens a man's core energy. He becomes stronger, youthful, and vibrant. For a woman, when she's loved properly, she is happy. This is why you can look on, you ever hear women over the year, men say this, it look like you're glow. It look like you're glowing. It's the Kundalini energy, your femininity is shining. You have been fulfilled. Your energy is climbing. The chakras are opening, because they don't want to tell about we are electrical beings.
All right, good point. And this
Even
is
with
why it's,
sex,
yeah, go
even
ahead.
with sex, energies transfer, fluids transfer, behavior transfer, particles transfer, chemicals transfer. So when you are a woman who is pure of heart, open your foot to one of these men who haven't been properly cleansed, who don't understand himself. You open yourself to disease, negativity, bad energies, bad fluids, and you proceed to facilitate this man's DNA inside of you. You are now creating a line, a lineage just like him. You can try your best to raise them properly, but it's will become a repeated cycle. But
Right.
as I can say, this is not cosmic.
Mm-hmm.
I remember growing up and the families that were like husband and wife and children was very rare to see in the community. I mean, like mother and father married, then go to church every Sunday, and the children there. It was very rare. While that was rare, houses that had the fathers in it was even rare too. But the most common was the single mother houses. I remember growing up and when my father showed up to PTA meetings, people looking at him like him weird because be a woman did and few man, few fathers. And we understand factors might be that the fathers are working and the mothers might have more free time, but it still is something that needs to be corrected. If for the ladies, the exposure to social media and the exposure of themselves, remember, they have tricked women into giving up the greatest part of them for free, their privacy. A private woman is a sexy woman. A woman where you don't know how under her foot look. It makes you a man, it make you excited, it make you thrilled because you say, boy, I see how skill me is, I see how I can say to her, you go to her, you start DJing her ears and say, mama, listen to me no man. But now I try, I try disrespect you, but you look sexy and you look a jean skirt, I'm just try to tell you, say, boy, I want to get to know you better, and yeah, walk her down. There's a thrill in that. There's a build up behind your mind and say, in time I get that, you see, man, I go and perform, man. You see me? That excitement is no longer there. You scroll up on the internet to you see her naked. Oh, some other panty that she have on. You know how it feel as a youth when you take off a woman clothes and you see all a pretty panty for the first time. And I like say you already see her, you never get a preview, She well shave her, even if you look at ear or something like that. And she have on some nice garments for your look pan. It's like a work of art, it's like a present you unwrapped. So that sentiment, that connection is what has been broken. So the female body has become exposed for free now. We can buy it. You know what I mean? You can buy it. So why should I respect it? Why should I evaluate it? I know nothing for growing a back road to get that. At least, I just scroll up on TikTok and I see sexier than you. So the man lust for flesh is his weakness. His exposure to a woman's sexuality, overexposure, overstimulation is his downfall. So he hasn't been respecting women anymore. Why? Him can buy it, him can see it for free. Him brain has been get used to it. Him get used to it now. Him still
That's
having sexual desires, but that curiosity, that excitement, that challenge isn't there anymore.
yeah,
And
man. The
that was the
current
fun
sites,
part of it.
the current sites, it overstimulate the mind. So at the end of the day, seeing that what people get accustomed to on screen right now, in the virtual world, it has caused an overstimulation of the mind. So even out in the reality, it's easier for people partake in a physical indulgence, self pleasures, because of what current site has done to their mind psychologically. You understand, it takes away something from them. And this is why too, when people engage in too much casual sex, you'll find out that a lot of them cannot really please a partner. The only reason why it seems as if some men are really good is because most of the women them, they not go 2 times with them, because most of the women them now go request them back, because it's just them ego, and them just a go up on here and do this and do that and go about them business, and them they move to the next woman. But if they should call back that woman, she don't want to see him again based on the performance.
Yeah,
So
that's why me and man out there talk. Oh, enough girl me go through, but me say, one girl ever want to see you 10 times yet?
that's
But
that's the thing. More I
You see
want
me?
them to the comment still. More I want them to a
Me I
comment,
say,
but not, yeah,
you
yeah.
see, there's a
So
difference between sex and fulfillment. This is why enough man get born and he can't understand. He
can't
might have a
understand.
9-inch broad like a 2 before. He might strong and it stay up long, but something missing with the woman just not getting. And there's an understanding of the woman woman's body that comes through curiosity.
And the
Where,
mind.
you see me, the worm dance, the spraying of water, the shaking of the leg, the rolling of
Kumina
the
dance,
eyes,
kumina.
the
Cause
the the,
what you
the,
know,
the phone.
what you
Let me
know, what
stop.
you know, Miracle? The woman them connected by the ear element, you know. So once you can provoke the ear element, the mind state, you understand it does so much to them. This is why, for example, like me did explain in my group the other day saying a lot of women will commit adultery with like married men. It's hard for them to come out of those situations because the way a married man will make love to her and the way the married man will treat her, the married man is not just about the physical, the bedroom part. He's gonna treat her in a certain way. So even if she wanna leave, it's hard to leave because the married man is more passionate than put it that way. Or you understand what I'm trying to say? So as opposed to a man who's single and always watch Karen sides. Him is just do jump on it and come off and that's it. But a married man will take care of the woman, tend to her emotional needs and things of that nature. So we have those things to consider. You have a comment. She says, but many women are single due to so many broken men and them not wanting them.
Can't answer that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Woman can't single. 'Cause yeah, man always a look woman. The problem with many women is that the skill to vet the men that deserve is the problem. You have 100 man, 10 out of the 100 man good looking and powerful, where most women desire. 100 women only desire that 10 man. The few women are look on the hardworking man and come off his sight in him dirty clothes. You're not attracted to these men. You're attracted to the men that you see the other women attracted to. Worse when you're young and in your prime, you feel like you deserve the cream of the crop as man. A man will take any woman and get long and she look good now and dress. Few women out there thinking that she is better than the man working the same place as she, so she thinks she deserves the boss. She thinks she's the main character. And all you have to do as a woman is learn to vet the men who get access to you. Stop thinking you're better than the men around you. Stop thinking they don't deserve you. You can't be single as a woman. You are always in desire. Men aren't always being desired unless we can provide it. Now, when you're good looking as a man, you still not get the whole heap of girl. If you're good looking and you're lame, woman no want you.
I think what you just said work both ways where a lot of men will find the good woman where them want, but she not coming at the physical appearance where he want. And it's the same thing, but I think with fair statement or question where she say, but many women are single due to so many broken men. I think she's saying that because of how they've been mistreated by men who don't have it together, the women willingly choose whether good men are hardworking men. She just choose to withdraw from relationships because of the abuse and the emotional abuse and the verbal abuse and the mistreatment. I think maybe that's what she's really saying. I was referring to women who are single out of choice. Okay, she said women who are single out of choice.
You see, love in inspiration zone. One of the thing that it's a conundrum. Women love attention. It's like a flowers who need water. Few women are single and happy. You have to be a special kind of woman. Because when women say they are single, they have a man who give them attention, but they just not in a relationship. When a man say him single, he never say wants fractal. He not say a fractal. No, what's happening is that a lot of women have been misinformed on how to be a proper woman. And to make up for being a proper woman, they become angry, wealthy, of course, have good careers, but they have taken on masculine features. So they are angry, violent, loud, disagreeable. This is the characteristics of the black woman. This is how the black woman is portrayed in media. She's always angry and loud. She cannot be reasoned with. So what you find happening, a lot of men have withdrawn from relationships. We have withdrawn from sexual activity, We have hookup culture now, but no one is really pursuing relationships anymore. We just say you wanna move. This is why me here, women I say them are side chicks and these things, and I can never understand it. You're giving men what they want for free. Without the commitment. You as a woman, you don't pursue relationship. A man pursue relationship. You decide who you want. to let into you. If you don't, it is called grape. You control the gate to pleasure and relationships. And if you open the gate and every time the gate open is the worst persons come through the gate, that means you're not properly trained to secure that gate. You have to reevaluate yourself.
Yep.
What can you do to be better, to attract better persons to that gateway? And then you decide which one of the persons should be the best for you, who matches you.
So I guess you have to ask her what is her definition of single then, because she says single by choice. So we will just, the project assume say at this she mean, but what if she genuinely means that she's avoiding all the attention seeking, she's not putting herself out there, she's avoiding sex or anything of that nature, you understand? Because okay, for example with me, like you mentioned, say some man is single but them still do this. The thing is, me cannot support that. Because you have a lot of men who speak against things that women do, but they are doing the same thing. Me not see how that makes sense. So, for example, me can't condemn a woman where they sell her body. We're in now, me now in our relationship, but maybe we have a thing with a woman and give her $5,000 when each time I do that. How me different from the woman they condemn over there so? So me have a problem
True.
with the man the way they do that. And a lot of men where we talk conscious. Right? A lot of men talk conscious, but they are doing the very same thing. And the next thing again is the mindset where a lot of them gratitude, what's the name? Indigo, gratitude for that. A lot of these people may tell you we talk conscious, but at the end of the day, the perception of women, a lot of these men perceive women as fairy. You guys know what I mean, fairy? Jamaican terms. 304, right? You understand what I mean? You guys understand what I mean when I say fairy?
Yeah, man, 3 or 4s.
304, okay, good. A lot of men who have the mindset that a woman is 304, guess what? They are going to push to fulfill those prophecy. So they're gonna either treat her a certain way if you do it so they can confirm the belief is true. Just like if a woman may say, all men are dogs. Guess what? She's naturally going to behave in a certain way to manifest that belief. Or it's just like if a woman who is, because I was with a covert narcissist some years ago and she was so damaged where she believed that all men are abusers, right? So what she was doing was she was provoking fights. But she wanted me to put my hand on her and I never did it, not once. Because I was not giving her the luxury or the opportunity to do what? Confirm her beliefs. So that was causing so much more struggles in her mind because I was not confirming the things that she holds. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
Right. So you see, if you don't know when you deal, there's a difference between broken woman and damaged woman. So a broken woman, you can have relationship with a broken woman. But when a person is mentally damaged, they become deluded. Their perception of reality is different. So this, I even did a video on it. Say we need to educate our sons about these type of people. And I think it's the same for the women too, for men who are damaged. You understand?
True.
It's a different mindset.
True.
So back to what she was saying, what I was saying earlier is that when you come on to single, or what them call single, you'd have to understand her definition of single, because single can mean, as I say, she will have a one man, they knock up once in a while, she will go back to a previous relationship, she will get the promiscuous and things like that, but if a woman is keeping herself to herself, like me right now, me on my journey of semen retention, you understand? So my journey has been good so far, but at the beginning, hey, you see the first moon and the third moon, man, that was the deadliest part of my journey. But
Yeah. The part that journey for real in a youth.
Reggie,
The boy turning a board is solid.
Reggie,
If you want, if you as a man have control over yourself, real control, try if you go without sex for 1 month as a man. And see the first 2 weeks, as I say, you see the power of your sexual energy as a man. Just go. A lot of men that you see in society aren't impotent, they are tired, they are overly sexed. The most away from the moment we start now with teens, we never stop, we never rest. So by the time we catch up in our age, we can't perform. But take a couple months rest and see what happens. You can't get the boy if you lie down back.
Yeah. There's a comment here. She says women and men these days have trauma, and it's why relationships seem so negative. Which it goes back to what we were talking about. This is why we really put a strain, and this is why too a lot of people just engage in casual flings, because if they find it easier to not deal with the stress and the problems and the trauma and just once in a while. But guess what? This is still not enough, because then we're not holding ourselves to a certain moral principle or standard. You
True.
understand? Because think about a woman. I think you were saying this earlier, Turtle, where you were saying like, how can you complain about a man sitting on your couch just watching TV, not doing this, not productive, but then later on you can get wet for that man? You see what I'm saying? So a lot of women, they are targeting low standard men, because if they should take a man of a certain standard, guess what? It's going to show light, it's going to shine light on them. So you see what I'm saying? They find low standard men naturally, and if they should meet a man of a higher standard, they're going to reject that man. Not them, but the thing inside of them is going to reject the man, because it's going to know the light that that man carries. You see what I'm saying? So it's a psychological thing.
The conflict in them is afraid of the man who commands authority, respect, and knowledge and wisdom. I've been in that situation when I was younger and I failed, until
See
she might have
meditation.
been. No, well,
Oh,
it's that too. Because the moment mama brush, I have to dig up the grounds. But a man's test in life is a woman. And if she's able to get you out of your logical zone at your last that fight, the moment you put your hands on her, you basically lose. A woman can't get you off a fight without touch you.
a woman
A
can.
woman, let me say it again. A woman can get you to fight without touching you. That is why you find enough man quick for fling hand, because man can out there and say things to you and mean nothing to you laugh. But the things that a woman can say to you, dig deep in you and draw out some anger where you never know.
Yeah,
But
man. You
And
never know them anger them, there,
I've
man.
been I've been with women who have been in relationships where she have been treated rough. So me getting up and cooking, and she said, I'm gonna wash your clothes. I'm say, oh, all right, but bother me, cause me we used to wash my clothes once me have my day off. She said, oh, you spread up the bed, and I said, well, me used to doing these things. So she felt out of place because I am not treating her as if she's a slave. I'm treating her as if she's an equal. I'm treating her as if she's valuable and loved. Whenever she gets into argument, whenever we get into arguments, I am not quick to violence. I am, what wrong with you? And it's like she can't understand. No, me need the fight. Me need the anger. You understand? So I agree with you 100% there, Cosmic. The conflict within a lot of men and women when they finally meet somebody who they should be able to say, well, whoa, this is peace, this is home. They mess it up because they haven't been properly healed.
True,
right, they're
man.
addicted to the pain and the chaos. They're addicted to that, so they're always trying to create that environment. And this is one of the things I had to learn by experience with my narcissistic, the covert relationship, where she used to provoke arguments and fights, right? And then afterwards, she wanted the pleasure, right? But then I realized it was empowering her. And then when I looked into it, I said, oh, so every time she does this, this is what follows. So I was recognizing the pattern. That time I did not know anything about narcissism. I was just learning her patterns, because I'm a person who deals with behaviors. You understand? I deal with behaviors.
Observe, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm never familiar with the term narcissism, and as I mentioned earlier about like the Google know where they think in that time, and the YouTube. Every time I go to YouTube, I keep seeing the word gaslight, and I never clicked on one of the videos, And I said to myself, then why I keep seeing this word all of a sudden? And that's when I started to know about it. That was after the relationship ended, but I was learning her behavioral patterns from the relationship. You understand?
Wow.
Yeah, it was just her pattern. So I realized that that thing empowered her. So when she started an argument and I did not lie with her. I'm telling you, it's like I use 100-pound iron to hit her
Jaja.
by not reinforcing the negative behavior. It was more devastating not to touch her, not to lie with her, because guess what? It was a form of supply. The pleasure, you see a lot of women talk about the makeup sex. That's a form of supply. So we find out that we cannot empower these women. We cannot reinforce these negative behaviors anymore. Don't let them drag us into make-up sex. They start a fight and then they do. No, it's a form of supply. We have to, women are people that need to be conquered, not in that cruel sense, but they need to be conquered.
You
And
know,
that's,
I don't
just
want
a
to
second, let me
cut.
just add something, Empress, before you come in. Just a second. When you deal with women, if you talk to a lot of women and you ask them to tell you what type of guys they like, and they give you the list of the guys they like, and then you ask them about the last 3 persons they've been with, it's the total opposite. What they physically been with and what they tell you that they want is the total opposite. But go ahead, Empress, then I'll turn back to some comments. Go ahead, Empress.
No, I was just saying that it's interesting you should point that out because it is deep rooted in our psyche to think and act and behave that way. I this I think back on the movie, the Jack Sparrow movies, and I don't know which one of them it was where they were trying to unearth the power of, I think it's Khaleesi, the character was, and the men were taking turns trying to get her to unleash some sort of power, and it is the simplest among the men that was able to unlock that in her. And I say that to say this, it takes a special kind of man to be governed in himself enough, to know himself well enough to be able to assess a woman in a way that will bring out the best in her. Because a lot of us are moved by our emotions and differences in our what you call it, hormones, different times of the month. And I tell you this by studying myself. Different times of the month I'm a different kind of person, and it was not until I started in my 20s to really observe my patterns of behavior that I noticed. And even now sometimes it takes my partner to recognize that, hey, today your period of a start, because you see that the attitude that will come off right now, yeah, your period of a start today. Because sometimes I'm life is lifing, so I'm not even fully aware that this kind of anger, this kind of resentment, not even resentment, it seems like you just argue for no reason, right? So it takes a special kind of man to be governed enough to can bring that out in our woman.
Right, right. And welcome to the platform, Indigo. You can go ahead and voice some your points and ask your questions and so forth. But before you say anything, let me just address something that Gary said about the moon. A lot of videos are made recently talking about the moon to show even the instincts in animals, to say that we too are governed by instincts, but we have a soul that we can discern to rule over, but we still experience the same things. So yes, we the moon tells a lot about our instincts, you know. But in the good, if you have something you'd like to say, you can go ahead and make your point, make a point.
I was just going to add to Empress, a woman does go through many changes, and it's a proven study, proven fact, science is why women have what they call moon swings, not mood, it's moon
That's a
swings.
good.
Because in 1 week, a woman can go through many changes, just like the moon in 1 month has 8 phases. The woman's body kind of, I guess, reflects with the moon. It's why we are emotional, because we're born to be nurturers, so we can nurture our children and our husband. So therefore, men are more logic to provide and protect on the outside, whereas woman is meant to be more, I guess, unseen. The feeling, the intuition a woman gets is usually she gets before the action, before man or the logic happens. She'll have that feeling of danger before the man even knows or sees it. So that's why I feel like women need to know themselves before they even try to get to know a man. If a woman doesn't know her body, she's going to be susceptible to most men because she doesn't know herself. She doesn't know
Very
how her
true.
body works.
Right, and this is the one.
Just want to say something the Indigo
Yeah,
about the intuition that women have. Men have that superpower, but for us it's called perception. So there are dangers that we see, we are perceive the dangers and observe the dangers, whereas you can feel and conceive the danger. So both of them always have a version, a feminine and
Yes,
a
yes,
masculine.
they're equal in difference, right?
Exactly.
Because
good way
man
to
is
So
put it.
more
perception
exterior, is how I
versus
see. I
intuition.
could be wrong. And then woman is more inside. And a lot of women suffer with trauma of childhood traumas, and because we are feelers, we tend to be emotional and express it in ways that we need to learn how to balance our emotions. And a lot of women don't do that. They do the expressing at that time, not healing. So they bring unnecessary measures to a next relationship without healing themselves or finding out what are they doing to provoke or trigger the men that they choose to be with, if that makes sense.
And that's why too that they like toxic environments, like toxic jobs. A lot of times, like women will have children, and even though sometimes the
Thank you,
father,
Empress.
huh? Oh,
I was
okay.
just thinking, Empress.
Yeah, I'm saying that the woman will have, say, two children or so forth, right? And she needs a mental break, but because they taking care of the child coming from work, a heavy day at work, it keeps that chaos in her mind active. So if the children are not at home, she does not know to deal with what's going on in here. So most of the times they need a mental break, and they will never give the child to the father, even on like on weekends or on holidays, if the man is in a position to take that child. A lot of them at work, they like these toxic jobs. They'll complain about the jobs, but they don't want to give it up because the confusion outside, it prevents them from the ones inside here. You see what I'm saying? A lot of them, they need that mental break, but they're not going to take it because they cannot deal with facing themselves. Because what do you do when you turn off all your devices at night and you cannot wake up anybody inside the house? You have to turn off the computer, the TV, the noise. You cannot be up on your phone. You're going to disturb somebody. And that was something I experienced also with the covert that I was with. For example, if she's on her day off and she gets up in the morning and she cooks and clean and eat and shower and she doesn't have anything to do, if she's alone, I'm telling you, I was on the farm one morning and she called me telling me about things that I'm doing. She was at the house, I'm at the farm, and she's telling me about things that I'm doing at the house. That's how delusional she was. Because when there's nothing physically to do and she cannot distract herself anymore, she has nothing to do but to face her unconscious demons.
Okay, I have a little thing to put into that. You could be right too. Because is this a woman that you're married to, or is this a single woman that's been used to having to take care of everything? Therefore, she steps into her masculine and has to overthink about things, which what men would do. They would think about what's going on outside, inside, with the children, with the woman when she's gone. Because a lot of women step into their masculine energy too much because they've been single and have to take care of a household and go outside, be with the children, still tidy up. So they don't know if they don't know how to take a break. I know from going through life, being married for 13 years, divorcing and all that. It's very important to take time for yourself, because if you don't learn to take time for yourself, to learn to love yourself, can you truly say you love your children? Can you truly say that you love your husband if you do not know how to take time for yourself and focus? That's self-care. If one doesn't know how to self-care themselves, they're not going to be able to give that care to others.
Right, and they're hiding behind all of these things. I just saw a video the other day. I was gonna make a video about it where this woman, it seemed as if she was running her own business, but she wasn't taking any off days. And sadly, she made a comment that she was gonna take a rest. And she never woke up back. She overworked herself to death. I don't know if any of you guys saw that video.
Good night, better tomorrow. I didn't see it, no.
Yeah, I think the name was Quita Rose. I don't remember, but she worked herself to death. It was sad because a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people is because they're already having a chaos in their mind and they need an external environment to match what's going on. And this is why I said earlier that if they are with a man that is at peace with himself, it's going to be hard to have a relationship because they need the chaos. This is why they keep going back to men who are abusive,
True.
and
Yeah.
things of that nature because they're addicted to the pain.
It's a trauma trigger, and that's what they're used to. So like you
Right.
said, it's a flight or fight. That's what you said earlier. And
Fight or
most of
flight.
them want to fight because that's what they're used to. And they have to learn to unlearn those wicked ways. And like that's why I said they need to heal themselves. Individuals need to take accountability for their own selves and work on themselves.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that people don't understand, that your time being single is not to be mingling with all people and dating
Exactly.
life is to reflect, because at the end of the day I see a lot of women, or even in movies you'll see that they're away from relationships for 5 years, but guess what, when they're ready to go back into the dating world, they go back to make the same decisions that they were have been making 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because they never was self-introspecting. They were not doing self-examination. So what was the whole point of your abstinence? If it's about you going through the mental process to see where were you going wrong, what were you doing wrong, what was this feeling when he said this, when she said this, what was this thing that was rising, this sensation that was rising. Oh, I'd have some resentment here, I didn't forgive this person, I didn't forgive myself for putting myself in this situation. You see what I'm saying? That's what the whole thing should be about. Let me just tend to some comments right here.
Yeah, I agree with that though. That's both men and women. It's both men and women go through that, right? A lot of women are very masculine in this era, meaning they will fight back their partners. And there's a lot of men these days that don't want to be, what's the word, emotional vulnerable, because they're just wanting something to build their, or some, they just want something to entertain their time. Like, men will be with women that they don't even want to marry.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. I talked about this earlier. You know, say this casual thing, because it goes back to what like Turtles was talking about earlier with these type of relationships. You know, you just doing things because we learned it from the master, and that's very problematic, because yes, we learned this, but now we become conscious to say, oh, this does not work, because what casual sex leads to is having a lot of children that we are not in their lives, and when they are left unprotected, because when you go to molestation, I hope it's okay to say this, when you go to things like that, most of these happen where the fathers are not in the homes. Majority of those things, the fathers are not in the homes. And this is why I said women who are partaking in casual things, men who are partaking, I think they need to come to the awareness of the consequence, because who do you blame when a child comes forth? You know you didn't want this man. The man knows he didn't want this woman, but now she gets pregnant. What do you do when the child comes in the picture?
See, that's where there's issues that arise because, okay, I'm just going to speak my mind. I'm not saying I'm right, right? Okay. So that's where I agree with you. There are men out here that want to be with women just to entertain and just to get, sorry to say it like this, but bust a nut. And then a child comes forth and the man's like, no, it's not mine. That's a jacket, yada, da, 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 da. When the man knows that child is probably his, but he just doesn't want to be with the woman. So when you have men out here saying, I'm the leader, I'm this, man come first, yada, yada, ray, 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 ting. Okay, so why are you leading a woman?
What happened a while ago?
There's nothing there for a woman to follow if the man don't want to be with her. But these men are leading women blindly into the wilderness because of the lies, the fakeness, the entertaining that they want until they get a woman that they think is suitable for them.
But
But
what I think though, it is for us as women to come into a self awareness. And yes, there are men out there that do that. But when you are secure in your identity, then you set appropriate boundaries.
Ooh,
You don't just set the appropriate boundaries; you will
that's true.
enforce them. And what I have found is in my personality, the men in my life, they are aware of my personality. They are aware I'm not one of those girls that you can just come up to with any argument. They are aware that they cannot come and touch me in any way. They are aware. And so I don't have to be telling them, oh, I'm not interested. Oh, don't touch me there. Oh, don't do that. Because the essence of who I am, it
Your
precedes me.
energy, yeah, you're
So there
right.
are people in that have recently come into my community that they don't know me, and they will approach me, and all I have to say is, you don't know me, ask them out there about me. There's one guy that moved into the community and he walked me all the way home, spitting a million words in my ears. And I said to him, obviously you haven't heard about me. So what I want you to do, since you're new here, go out to the shop out there out the road. All of the men that you see out there, ask them about me, and they'll tell you about me. And that was the last time that man approached me in any kind of way, because I have that kind of attitude about me. So if you as a woman decide that you are going to be a commoners, then men are going to treat it as such. And even when you go into an environment where the men don't know you, it's kind of like it's a scent, it's in your DNA. It is so easy for them to pick you up like prey because you have that air about you.
Yeah, some things can be picked up. It's just like if a man who the woman is causing problem in the home, a manipulative woman can see the spirit and that man and know that she can get every single dollar in his wallet. So sometimes a lot of women create problems in the home and they don't realize that, hey, this is the reason why you're not seeing the man's money. And when things of that nature. So, and it goes both ways too. I'm just gonna run through some comments right now. Just give me a minute. Gary says yes, not rewarding negative behaviors. I guess this is about when we're talking about narcissistic supply. Cause women go through changes like the moon. Learning so much right now from Empress Rising. Vet these men and balance the hormone with nature herbs. Right. Bring the life to 10K people. Empress Rising says choose better food and consumption, because that's another aspect that we also need to look into, the food and the consumption and things about the blood, because that's very important.
Yes,
Outside
that's
of
true.
food, she says what we watch, who we hang around, influence, right? It says many people this is Love Inspiration Zone. Many people underestimate how important it is to be single and learn how to heal before relationships. That's very true. It's not just
Yes.
about moving from one thing to the next, because if you haven't processed, especially people who have been single for a while, this is why it's dangerous. You know why? People don't understand that there are many personalities, there are many selves. So the you that you're accustomed to being single for 6 months is not the same you in a relationship. So you don't know what you're gonna do in a certain situation, because you have to learn this personality now. You know who you are being by yourself. You see what I'm saying? So this is very important. You have to know your different personalities. We are schizophrenic by nature. We need to know our different personalities, right? It says, like Turtle says, thank you, gifters. Thank you, people, for tapping the screen. Very much appreciated, of course. Thank you, everyone. Like Turtle says, that's when I love to drive. That's when I sit outside when the world goes quiet. This is talking about when things going on inside the mind. We need to take a moment and process that. Listen, let me just say something back to the covert narcissist that I was with. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. You see, the moment those thoughts rising, I have to take a moment. If I'm going for the goats, if I'm doing something, chopping some wood, whatever, because I'm not the type to take out my energy and physical things to go chop down an entire field. That's not how I process things. I like meditation. There's nothing to me than meditation. So I like to sit with what's going on and deal with the feelings, the sensations, see how long it lasts, and then I started to study the pattern. That's what I'm about. I'm about studying patterns. So when a certain sensation rises in me, I would study to see how long it takes, the localization in the body, where exactly it is. Is it in the throat, the stomach tightening? Is it in the gut? And all of these. I used to do that a lot. So it was easy for me to purge. I went through that anxiety and the fear, because let me tell you something. When that covert would call me and said she's leaving work, she's coming, man, the trigger starts. She only tells me she's leaving work and the sensations start rising. That anxiety. Oh man, I've been through my eyes was so dangerous. Like you ever feel tired where it's like pebbles are in your eyes, you cannot close it, you cannot open it. I've been through all of that. So people who are going through those types of relationships, I do understand the experience. I've been through it with a covert, but the thing is, I didn't stay long, 1 year, because you're not going to go around my morals. Certain things I can tolerate for a certain time, but my not acceptable and my non-negotiables, nope. So this is why too I don't ask people why they stayed so long in their narcissistic relationships. That's a question you never ask anyone, because you don't know what it does to the psyche. I was lucky to just do 1 full year and walk away, but some people are not so fortunate because they spend time to what? They think they can change the person. Narcissistic people are delusional. There's no reality there. If that narcissist say I'm wearing a red shirt, trust and believe. There's nothing I can do to prove that I'm wearing a black shirt. They're delusional, no reality. Indigo, good evening, Queen. Manners and respect to the life. That's from A Better Tomorrow. I saw it. Sometimes we need time for ourselves. That's from Blessings. A Better Tomorrow said she said that she need rest and didn't wake up. Okay, so I guess this person know about the the woman that I was talking about. She was working. No, that's not good. We need to take time. We need to take time for ourselves. We need to get into the sun to reset. That's what the sun is for. The sun gives you a reset of your internal clock. I think you guys call it circadian rhythm or something of that sort. Sometimes a certain type of people come into our life to teach us something. Exactly. Sometimes you have to see what was this message, what was this purpose of the person in our lives, right? What's the next point that we're gonna touch on? Indigo says, "A Better Tomorrow. Thank you and happy Sunday." No judgment here. Yes, because we're not really condemning it. We're just pointing out or exposing certain things, because once we start to face our own fears or insecurities or whatever it is that we're hiding behind, we're gonna be creating so much beautiful relationships. So much beautiful relationships. Our generation will fix this. Yes, I believe that we can do it. We just need more conversations like this, more people to engage and start to share their own points. Proud of these ladies speaking out. Fox Empress could have give the man a chance, man. Make him man rub down him slim as fit nothing. Yeah, so you guys can go ahead now. Where were we? I was just running through some comments, but it's going so fast. I think I have a request here. Okay, hold on. Yeah, go ahead. Welcome to the panel. As you were here before, you can go ahead. But you choose that woman.
Sorry about that, man. Sorry about that mistake.
Yes, I've been through that feeling like I have to walk on eggshells. Oh, you're talking about the narcissistic relationship, Indigo?
Yeah, a narcissistic relationship. I had to
Like through the anxieties and the fears and all of those things. It's dangerous, man.
My belly would start to tremble. I'd feel like my belly gonna run, or I'd throw up. Just when I know the person would be on home, certain time, my body would get like irritated, not in a mad way, but in a way where it felt sickly.
Yes, definitely. So
You absorb so much of their anxieties, and you don't know until it overshadows you sometime that you are absorbing their own anxieties. They put it on you. So you get in that state of anxiousness. I used to be like that with my father. Everybody in the household, we're like, we know when it comes around to certain times, like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, when he used to come home at certain times. We know. So when it gets to that time, everybody gets antsy, you get agitated, and then when you hear the vehicle from down the road, everybody scatters, because you're expecting the torment that is coming with that energy. You understand?
Yes, energy transfer.
Yes. And I had to learn how to, through meditation, try to create like a barrier around myself in a lot
Cloak
of
yourself
cases.
from it.
So that I don't absorb people's energies, because trust me, if I leave myself unprotected, I feel everything.
See, and that's what I learned by my spirit guides. Yes, I'm one of those people where they taught me that each time I lay with a man, or when I was with my husband, I'll talk about this, my ex-husband, that's why my body would tremble like that, because I was literally like with my ex-husband every day. The energy transfer, even during making love, was even more severe because I was taking on him and his stress. That's what women do. We receive what they are givers to us. So when I'm with him, I'm only engaging in more unsettling energy from him. So I had to learn that too, that as women, our bodies are temples. We can't just go with any man we think we might like.
because sometimes
And we have to learn how to transmute that energy. That is the key.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
will come to you, but you now have to turn that into something good. Now, if you are inexperienced in knowing how to handle those energies, it will overpower you.
Yeah. And I
Sometimes-
learned that like in my past years.
sometimes you have to know too, because sometimes there are some things that we experience at an earlier stage, and this is what we are manifesting now in relationships. Like, for example, a lot of people who are empaths, you know that most of them cannot stop themselves from making a bad decision or poor decision, because guess what? They probably grew up in an environment where they needed to be safe, or they saw where their mother needed to be saved and they could not save them, or somebody of that sort, and they take on to men or women who need to be saved as well. So it's that trauma that's putting you to that person we're in. Sometimes we're only sent to help that person, but not to engage, not to cross the line with that person. So
Yeah,
sometimes
because how you're explaining it. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I want to add in there
no, that's okay, that's fine, that's
because you
fine.
talked about like molesting, right? Like I'm okay to share it. That's something I had experienced from a young age until I left home at 14. So then there's some essence that I come on from men that I've had to learn to rebuke and get rid of. Because that followed me in my years of, being a married woman. And before being married, the man had to understand why I had certain triggers. And it was only when he decided finally to work with me and talk with me instead of saying, well, you're thinking too much, you're doing this. When it was triggers, I just wanted a man to trust. So I had to learn to trust the man I chose to marry
Yes,
because of my past trauma, right? Because I brought my past into my relationship and it didn't have anything to do with dating a man. It was just triggers of what men can do to me. You
right.
understand?
And that's why it's hard, because when you go to the dating table now, everybody talks about everything except what is troubling them mentally. So at the end of the day, if you tell me that this is what you went through, I could be more compassionate about certain things. Like, for example, I was talking to a woman that she was, molested as well, and she got triggered by the dark. So it's getting dark now. By the time it gets dark, she's triggered, the darkness alone. And guess what? Taking her by the hand like this, like if she's just standing there and you take her by the hand and she does not see you from in front, it's going to be a trigger, because probably that's how the event happened. So then a lot of us men now have to be learning these women and their trauma, and the women who are not aware. So if we're trying to get to it, they're trying to shun it away. And it's the same for a lot of men. A lot of men who have certain trauma dealing with, when you are trying to love them and it's exposing their traumas or what they're hiding behind, it causes so many problems because of the lack of awareness. And that's what Jablis said: to break this pattern, we need to be somewhat self-aware of our own triggers and traumas and all of those things that we're hiding behind, because we're really hiding behind a mask.
Exactly. And that's why with my ex-husband, like I met him young. That's why I had to talk to him, because he didn't understand why certain things I would pull away, right? Whereas he's trying to love me up. I'm like, I don't want this. This is a trigger response. So, and that's something I had to learn to deal with, even just if I wanted to date after my ex-husband. It was hard because it took so long to even trust my ex-husband at that time. And then to have a new relationship with somebody else, because I was with my ex-husband for so many years. That being with another man was, I don't know, it was weird. It was weird to date. It was hard. I did not trust anyone. But that, again, was me. I can't point that every man would be like my ex-husband, like you said that before. Not every man's the same. And as Empress said, the more you're secure in yourself, you will know what to go towards or allow towards you.
Because you see, the thing about this, is the being and the brain are two different things. For example, you will want to trust a man, you'll meet a man and you want to trust him, but the brain itself has to learn. And this is why it goes back to what we talk about, the electric and the magnetic field. This is why when the man is physically in your life, it naturally, the brain, over a process of time, the brain will learn to trust. For example, if you're gonna go and take up the clothes to fold them or to wash them or whatever, and he goes ahead of you and do it, after a period of time, your brain is going to learn. The more active the man is in your life, naturally the brain will become more passive. You see what I'm saying? So it's not that a lot of women do not want to be submissive. They want to trust a man. They want to be able to trust, but it's not that they don't want, it's that they can't. The brain itself.
They have to learn it, yeah.
Right, because, for example, I was doing this exercise with one of my friends who had the same type of mindset, and I was saying to her, you see the way you trust this man with your child. I think it was the football teacher at the school. She trusted the man, but I was saying to her, if you were in a relationship with that man, you would not have the same trust. You only trust him because you trust the system. You see what I'm saying? So the brain itself has to learn to do it all over again, and it takes a lot of patience and kindness to deal with how the person is going to react in those situations. So it takes understanding and grace to build relationships based on the traumas that both of us are having, man and woman. It needs patience, grace, kindness, and not judge. That's the main thing you want. Not condemning your partner.
Yeah.
So this is why it's important to come to certain terms and agreement wherein you know that, okay, once you're not committing adultery, because pain is the main cause of adultery. A person who is broken or hurt, they commit more adultery than a person who is actually a 3 or 4. They are more easy to commit adultery because that's what the pain does. It makes you run away from one thing, goes to another. So if you're, for example, if you're provoking the person that the person commits adultery, but the person have himself together and is not doing it, you are going to be the one to fulfill your own prophecy. So you're going to self-sabotage. You're going to sabotage your relationship. Even if you're not that type of person to do it. But in that moment, that's what exactly going to happen. So we have to learn ourselves in different situations, and it takes a lot. We have to be kind to ourselves. We have to learn not to be so harsh judging ourselves. We have to learn to deal with the fears, the insecurities, the guilt, the shame, all of these underlying judgment we have to I want.
That's true.
Definitely. So we have to start by being honest. We have to be honest with ourselves. We have to be honest with whoever we are trying to date, because one of the things we are afraid of is, if I tell you that I'm suffering from this, how do I know that you're not going to do the very same thing that I just told you I'm going through? That's why it's hard for us to open up in relationships.
That's what I mean. Like when I'll just speak on, because I'm a woman dating men. When men are out here, and it's happened to me once already, so I can speak on it, where things didn't seem right when I was dating the person, and finally, I got the revelation and I saw the negative side of it. And it's like, how can people say that they're honest, but they're talking with fake words? And then somebody being honest gets the fake love. Like, I don't understand that, but I do understand karma fixes itself later. The universal law is there. So I just had to learn to just walk away, and that was hard. When you're walking away from something you love but doesn't love you back. But that's reality. There's no reciprocation with the energies coming back and forth.
Because people need the spirit of understanding in these situations, like I said, because what we
Discernment, spirit of discernment.
Right, because the love is going to expose the things that you're hiding. Like, for example, I can be hiding behind my ego. You see what I'm saying? But you as a woman, your intuition gonna know that he's not the way he is. He's hiding
Something's
something.
off, yeah.
Right. So this is what I said about your intuition. If you guys know the power that lies within your intuition, you can take down kingdoms. If you guys should have the proper knowledge about your intuition, this is why I talk about the spirit of Jezebel. Not the spirit of Jezebel, but the woman Jezebel with her capabilities. If she apply the proper wisdom, you can move mountains with your husband. So your intuition this is your weapon. We travel with swords to conquer lands and conquer kingdoms, conquer people. You as a woman, your weapon is your intuition. That's the deadliest weapon ever created, because guess what? Once you start to get into your emotional play field, once you get on that play field, no matter how conscious we are as men, we can never win a battle on that emotional battlefield with you guys. Never. So this is why the only thing we can do is withdraw. When we see that you're trying to bring us into that thing, we withdraw. We battle with our silence. We don't get into it. We don't try to react to it. We don't try to speak on it, because we can never win. And that's how a lot of you guys take down men. You can even create a situation and then you just boom, be silent. And the man is just there expressing, not realizing, brother, you already lost the battle. She got you in the state that she wanted you. So imagine if you're using that intuition to work together with your husband. Do you know how many things we would be accomplishing together, the man and the woman? That's where we need to get back to. Use your weapons the right way, as the Most High intended it, it's in your nature or your instinct to do, but use it with wisdom. You have the greatest weapon ever. I'm telling you that. Look at all the great men. Somebody saying greetings to you, Indigo. Heavy Dads is giving you a shout out. So for Empress Rising, if you're still here, I hope you got your answer regarding how do we break the curse with this battle between man and woman. We have to understand that love has become something on the market, and somebody is profiting from us being separated, from our families being dismantled. Somebody is profiting. So therapists online making money, all these fake authors writing books about relationships and love is just selling the same stories over and over because it is monetized. Love has been monetized. So we have to understand that the script is already written and we're just doing the motion. So once we come out of that perimeters or that confinements and we no longer play by their rules, we no longer believe that the woman is the villain. The woman no longer believes that the man is the villain. But social media is the villain. They are the true villain behind this because they are all profiting from it. Therapists, relationship coaches, authors of books, they're all profiting from the same things. Greetings to all, pardon my manners. Yeah, heavy dads, no problem. Like Turtles, you have anything you want to say? Jobless, Gary, Indigo, Empress. Everybody gonna eat Sunday dinner?
Just thinking that the value of conversations like this is what pushes the needle forward, the fact that there are people who are self-aware, and the good thing I can see is that there is an awakening happening. So there is hope for the future as long as we in our own little areas of life we make the changes. And this man in the mirror concept that Michael Jackson sang about, it's so very important. Even the Bible says that you should take the beam out of your own eye first. So if we would all just stop to do that, I think we could all get along. In my work environment now, I'm seeing so many conflicts that need not be there, but for the ego that is presenting itself in all of these situations, So it's unfortunate that there are a lot of people that think they are awakened, but they are not. But I still...
Right, because the true awakening comes into action. That's what we call wisdom, because wisdom is when you start to do what you know to do. Like I said this before, the difference between the smart person and the wise person is the smart man will tell you what to do, but the wise man will do what he knows to do. That's the difference between wise and smart. So a lot of people can say things, but they are not taking their own advice. They are not walking the same walk. But the men who are walking that walk, those are men of wisdom. So that's exactly where it is. Leo the Lioness Queen says, we have to understand we cannot be equal to men, but we can stand by their side and be their queen. Exactly, and it goes back to what I said. Once the kingdom is established, the king protects the kingdom and the queen protects the king. And that's how your home is maintained. That's how your kingdom is maintained. And also, you as the woman, you want to give your king an heir. You want to give him an offspring. And then you're teaching your child to succeed his father. So you're going to always be secure in your place and that of your child, because inheritance is a big thing in our community, or should be. That's
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add or to reiterate what Empress Melanin said. It has been a great conversation and to help to move the spectrum forward. And I'm really glad that I participated in this discussion we had today. Really good insight. Turkle, I'm not sure if you're still around. You said you left a message, so you're going to have something, but great conversation. I really enjoyed our meeting today.
Yeah, and I want to thank all of you guys for coming on the panel, all of you guys who shared their opinions, all of who participated from the comment section, and all of you guys who sent gifts and so forth to everyone on the panel. I appreciate all of you guys, and I hope you guys got something from it. I hope you guys learned something as well. She says, Indigo says, I wish I had proper guidance from a young child, but I'm glad that I'm a part of something now. That's the thing. We all wish that we knew what we know earlier, but we have the opportunity to do what? To instill this knowledge into somebody and walk the path where they can now look after us, or, you know, admire us the way that we're doing it, so we can influence the generation after us, right? Like Turtles, guys, it was a pleasure going to eat some food. I'm proud of Uno. That's how my husband feels, and we have peace. That's very good. Lioness Queen, shout out to the Lion King. Follow the like. Thank you for having me on your live. You're welcome. And guys, this is where I say shalom, and hopefully I'll see you guys next week Sunday again. Thank you all for the support.